Good morning, one and all present at this virtual platform to celebrate 151st birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi ji, the father of our nation. In a very special way, on behalf of St. Aloysius Institute of Education, I extend a cordial welcome to our resource person, Mr. Ronald Rapose, for his presence in our midst. A warm welcome to you, sir. It's also an added joy for me to welcome our very dear principal, Dr. Farita Vegas, Mrs. Delna Lobo, our vice principal, the teaching faculty, the many participants of this webinar, and you, my dear friends. We, as growing nation, must not forget the leaders who contributed to the development of the nation. We are proud that we are a free nation, and this freedom could be achieved only through the hard work of many. The chief architect of our liberation was Mahatma Gandhi ji, whose birthday we commemorate on this day as Gandhi Jayanti. We shall begin our program by reflection on a prayer published in his weekly newspaper Harijan. I request Elizabeth to lead us into prayer.
Lord of humility, dwelling in the little pariah hut, help us to reach for thee throughout that fair land, watered by Ganga, Brahmaputra, and Jamuna. Give us receptiveness, give us open heartedness, give us thy humility, give us the ability and willingness to identify ourselves with the masses of India. O God, who does help only when man feels utterly humble, grant that we may not be isolated from the people. We would serve as servants and friends. Let us be embodiments of self sacrifice, embodiments of godliness, humility personified, that we may know the land better and love it more.
Rita Vegas, Principal, St. Aloysius Institute of Education, to welcome the virtual audience.
Good morning and a gracious welcome to all. On this auspicious day, where we commemorate the 151st birth anniversary of the Mahatma, we at St. Aloysius Institute of Education, Mangalore, are happy to celebrate this day by hosting a webinar, Awaken to Life, which will elaborate on mindfulness and self-awareness. Gandhiji was himself a person for whom mindfulness was a way of life. His words, each one of us has to find its peace from within, and peace, to be real, must be unaffected by the outside circumstances, resounds deeply in these times of turmoil. On this occasion, it gives me great pleasure to welcome the resource person, Mr. Roland Rapose, Human Development Facilitator and Life Coach, who will be joining us from Mumbai. Thank you, Mr. Rapose, for being with us here today. We are all looking forward to your session. A warm welcome to all the participants to this online platform. Thank you for your valuable participation. I also welcome Mrs. Delna Lobo, the Vice Principal, the faculty, and the support staff of the college for this program. My dear student teachers, I welcome your presence. As always, your attendance makes any occasion great. Mindfulness is about nourishing and nurturing, and it helps us to find the way towards the contentment and peace. Once again, I extend a warm welcome to all.
All of us have been celebrating Gandhi Jayanti every year on 2nd October. On this 151st birth anniversary of a great leader, I request Lavina to brief us with the significance of the day.
Good morning to one and all present here. There are very few people in this world who have left a long lasting impression on fellow beings with their ideologies and perspective in life that still make an impact. One such person is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, who was born on October 2nd, 1869, Porbandar, Gujarat. Every year on October 2nd, Indians celebrate Gandhi Jayanti to mark the birth of their iconic leader. Gandhi's life and thought had an enormous impact on the Indian nation, and he continues to be widely revered as Mahatma, the great soul. Gandhi was the pivot behind India's struggle for freedom against the British rule. While the first revolt took place in 1857, it was nothing as massive as that led by Gandhi. It was only fitting that the title Father of the Nation was conferred upon this great Indian leader. It was not only freedom from the British that Gandhi wanted for a free India, but it was also freedom from its own internal conflicts, social issues, and taboos. His efforts to liberate the society and its people was quite relevant and modern at that point of time in history, and his dream of an India free of casteism, religious based differences, and gender inequalities paved the way for the modern India of the 21st century. The contribution of Mahatma Gandhi to world politics and also to world peace is immense. Gandhi's legacy includes not just the brilliantly waged struggle against institutionalized racism in South Africa, the independence movement of India, and a groundbreaking path of interreligious dialogue, but also boasts the first widespread application of nonviolence as the most powerful tool for positive social change. All his life, he favored the path of truth and nonviolence, and with these weapons, he helped India in getting independence. His acts inspired many movements for civil rights and freedom all across the world. In 2007, United Nations General Assembly declared that 2nd October will be celebrated as International Day of Nonviolence. This day is to commemorate his birth as well as to celebrate his life that serves as a guiding path for several people in India as well as across the world. Several institutions arrange functions, and people from different walks of life, caste, and religion unite to mark this day. Famous quotes by Gandhi on forgiveness and non-violence, like, "An eye for an eye makes the whole world blind," still continue to hold a strong meaning. By celebrating the greatness of Mahatma, we hope to imbibe his way of life and principles of empathy, humbleness, honesty, and sincerity. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Lavina. I now invite Celia to introduce the gathering, the resource person of the day. Over to you, Celia.
Mr. Roland Rapose, a human development facilitator, a life coach, and an NLP master practitioner. He is from Mumbai and has done his master's in sociology from the University of Mumbai. He has a rich experience of training, counseling, and teaching. As a mindfulness coach, he organizes mindfulness workshops, one on one coaching, meditation classes, workshops on stress management, communication, and interpersonal skill. The Human Integrated Institute Intelligence Program is his brainchild, which is an 8-week mindfulness program. Keeping in mind the need for humans to learn to develop attitudinal change in their life, he has also developed the Be Attitude program and conducts mindfulness retreats. Not only that, he is a level 3 international instructor in Tai Chi, Qigong, and Qigong meditation and has been practicing Vipassana since 1988. He is a facilitator for early and youth leadership programs, and he uses the street theater medium to facilitate people to get over their inhibitions in communication. Through the means of drama, he works with students to develop their personality. He has generously offered to share his skills with us, and we are looking forward to this session with enthusiasm and with the spirit of learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Celia. We will commence with a soul stirring talk on the topic Awaken to Life. After which, at the end of the webinar, there will be question and answer session where you are free to put forth your questions for clarification. Let us then, without any further delay, give ear to Mr. Ronald Rapose. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sister. Thank you, sister.
Welcome,
Hello,
sir.
namaste, and shalom. This is the only moment that you have in your life. There can be no other moment. The past is gone. The future is yet to come. And as this particular moment unfolds right now in your life, you can only be aware of it. And even though today I thought, since I'll be talking to a number of teachers and teacher students, and maybe to the public in general, let me ask you this thing. What is it about your life that has an enormous impact on the way you teach? What is it that you do that makes you want to be a better person, a better teacher? And many of times, what do you think is the answer that comes to your mind, the very first thing? I know many of you will be watching this on YouTube, and if you are doing, just put in the chat box, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you're teaching at your best? What do you feel? What do you sense? And if you're putting words like confident, calm, open-minded, and relaxed, then you are totally in a mindful state. And how do you cultivate this healthy physical, emotional, and mental state and become the captain of the ship? How do you do that? What is it that you do about it? It all has to do about the difference between your external state of mind and the internal state of mind. And the internal state of mind starts just in the head. It is present all over our body. Every single cell in our body, for that matter, is responsible to show you how you will deal in the external state of mind. So let me ask you this question right now. Today is a holiday, and all of you would have been thinking, wow, nice, a holiday to be at home and not have to do anything, maybe relax, get up late, enjoy yourself. And all of a sudden, the principal tells you and the school tells you, no, you have to be present for a webinar today morning. It's very important. And what is your state of mind the moment you heard that? What happened to you? What thoughts crossed your mind? What were the sensations or feelings that you had? Can you take a moment to think about that? It's very interesting, you see. And that state of mind that you had when you heard of that may or may not reflect, but to a large extent will reflect on what your presence is to this program today. And you will realize how mindful you are to this particular moment of listening, of paying attention, of being fully present mentally and physically. That's why I put the title of this program is Awaken to Life. And why I'm saying this awaken to life, because we are walking through life totally absent-minded way. Right from the time we get up in the morning to the time we go to bed in night, We are always, we are focused in our thoughts. We are focused in the emotions that run through our body. We are never actually physically present. And if we are, it is very rare. So if you have this absent-mindedness, okay, what is mean? What is the meaning of this word absent-mindedness? I still remember in school many years back, I was in class sitting and the teacher was there. And the teacher took an eraser and threw at a student. And suddenly the student became aware about, oh, I'm in class, so I should stop daydreaming. So your absent-mindedness is your daydreaming also. Let me give you a small exercise to do now. Just think for a moment, you are in a dark room, it is closed, it is totally dark, there is no light, absolutely no light, and you are supposed to clean that room. You're supposed to tidy that room, make it spick and span clean. Do you think it is possible to do that? How can you clean something if you cannot see it? Many of us are not aware to our thoughts and our feelings. How can we manage them if we don't see them? And what does mindfulness tell you? It says about being able to manage your body, your mind, your heart. And an extension to all of these are the words, your action, your behavior, your habits. And just think, in the number of years that you have lived right now, how aware are you to any of this? Is your awareness there, present in this moment, to any of these things when you become aware of it? And maybe we do it again the next time, unaware of it. And again the next time, unaware of it. We are always thinking of what happened yesterday or the previous moment, or maybe years back. Or we are always thinking of what will happen in the future. What will happen tomorrow, day after, maybe when I get my results, what will happen? And science tells us one very important thing. It tells us that this living in the past and the present, living in the past and not in the present, living in the future and not in the present is very damaging to our health. It's very damaging to our mind. It's very damaging to our well-being. Just think of all the negative thoughts you have in the 24 hours of the day that you spend. Think of it for a moment. How much thought is going on? And think of that day in your life when you have been thinking the whole day. You have not done anything but thinking. And how tired are you at the end of that day? Are you feeling healthy enough at the end of that day? Are you feeling positive enough at the end of the day? And if you're not, then it is telling on your health. It is telling on the illnesses that can cause problems in your life. And many of us are doing these things day in and day out. We are continuously just in our head. Your thoughts lead to your feeling. And when you have a thought and it leads to a feeling, now it will depend what the feeling is. And if the feeling feels bad, and you're the type of person who may say, I should not feel this right now. And again, there's another thought about that feeling. And then maybe you may have another feeling for that thought or a thought for that feeling. And you may be like, oh, it's okay to feel like that. I'm normal, I'm natural. And then again, you may berate yourself or you may console yourself. And it just goes on. So you're not aware to life. You're not aware to this present moment, to what is happening now, but you're going on and on in your mind about things. And that is what we called as mindlessness or absent mindedness. You are not fully present to this moment. How many of you right now are thinking in your mind about what I am saying? You know, to give you a simple example, many a time we have a conversation with another person. Maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a companion, maybe it's a family member, and we are already ready to answer that person even before the person has completed the sentence or the communication. And what do we expect? We expect and think we are listening. No, you are not listening. You are not mindful. So one of the things is learning to be mindful. But let's understand, why is this happening? What are the reasons that cause us to be mindless and not mindful enough? One of the things to start with, I will tell you three things today. The first thing is you are disconnected from reality. Give you a simple example. When you get up in the morning, how many of you, when you go to the wash basin to brush your teeth, wash your face, are consciously doing that? How many of you know how you are actually brushing your teeth? Can you feel that bristles on your teeth, on the gums? Does it feel painful or does it feel comfortable? Are you aware of what it feels when that first splash of water at the start of the day touches your face? And what does that feel like? Imagine when you put that brush in your mouth and the first taste of the toothpaste early in the morning, the taste of the mint. What other flavors do you notice in your toothpaste? And you may say, who is going to do all that? I want to just brush my teeth, start my day, and get on with my life. But if you're not present to these small moments in life, you cannot be mindful to all the other moments in life. Being mindful counts with starting the smallest moment and then moving on to other moments. So how are you disconnected from reality? To start with, you avoid things. And why do we avoid things? Because when we begin to think about different things, there is fear, anxiety, worry, procrastination. All of these happening. You start avoiding things because you're fearful of something. And you feel anxious about something. How many of you have not ever not done a public speech for the very first time that you were given an opportunity because you were anxious? Or have never done something because you were anxious? How many of you worry about little things in life, or even the other important things in life? Continuous worry. How many of you keep putting off something, procrastinating because of worry? All avoidance. And the main area that we are not mindful is because we avoid things. Think of that mind of yours. When you get up in the morning, close your eyes for a minute and just think of that mind. Think of that struggle in your mind, the thoughts raging against one another, one pulling one way, one pulling another way. Think of it. How much of it are you avoiding when you're doing that? And that is causing an unnecessary stress on your system, on your body, on your physical self. Because of not being mindful and present to this moment, this is what is exactly happening. Interesting, right? Have you thought about this? If you have, maybe you can put yes. If you have not thought about this, just type no there in your chat box. And just think for a moment, why is this happening? Because of non-awareness. You are not aware of what is happening in this particular moment to you. And if you were aware of it, you would know how to deal with it, because you would have practiced dealing with it. So the first thing is you avoid everything. Look at everything you avoid. Maybe you can make a list of things you avoid. And one by one, take each thing, work at it. and become mindful of that. The second thing that causes us to be mindless, we cling. You know, it's a game we'll play in our life every day. I'll be happy when I get that promotion. I'll be happy when I earn this much. I'll be happy when I have a bigger house. I'll be happy when I get a bonus. And we keep on postponing living to life because I will be happy when. The question. So question is, you are not happy. Happiness is not about getting something. You keep postponing life. And you are unconsciously doing this. You're not even consciously knowing many of times that these are the statements you're making. This is what you're saying on. You are dissatisfied with everything. You also cling to possessions. That wonderful, beautiful watch. No? Many of us are fascinated today by technology. So I will live my life happily when I have that computer, that particular brand. We are clinging to people. I like this person, so I stick to this person. I enjoy this person's company. We cling to our prejudices. Let me tell you that very strongly. I like this type of a person. Oh, that person meets my thought pattern, so I will stick to that. But that particular person who is there in my class or that particular person in my neighborhood, I will not. We cling to our jobs because we are not ready to go ahead in life. We cling to our statuses. I come from a middle class family or an upper class or a rich family. Or I am this type of a person. We cling to things because of fear of loss. But let me ask you this question. What is it that you have your own that if you lose it, it'll cause a loss to you? What is it that you have of your own that if you lose it will cause a loss to you? Think of this. It's an interesting thing. You can't lose anything that is not your own. Right? What is the third thing that causes you to be mindless or absent-minded? Delusion. A lot of us zone out. We get out. We are absent-minded. We live life hedonistically, eating and drinking too much, overwatching television, continuous use of our cell phones. We compromise on our values. It is a deadening in our life. Even though it is not as strong as the clinging and the attachment that you have, but it is there. And many a time, this is what takes us away from the reality of life. Just think for a moment, when you pass down the street and you see a beggar, many a time we just walk past without even noticing and looking at that person. It becomes like that person doesn't exist to us. And not only the beggar, let's think of the child in the classroom who is not doing very well. And there are moments when we may ignore that child altogether. And let's sometimes look at the person, maybe in our family circles, who is not able to manage well. And we are dead to that person. So for a moment of our time, we are also delusional about things because we are not thinking that they exist. For us, it doesn't exist. We are zoned out. To give you a better idea of zoning in, think of an athlete running a 100-meter race under 9.9 seconds. And think of how much focus how much mindful, how much total attention that the person has to that particular thing, wanting to win that race in the zone, totally focused. Now think the opposite of that. You think that you want to do the race, but you're not zoned in. You're out. I will do it. You're zoned out, but you're not focused. And what can help us as human beings that we live our life this way to become more mindful, more focused, more attentive, much more aware? The definition of mindfulness is this: paying attention to what is happening in this moment, aware of it, being non-judgmental, but curious about what is happening, and living life in that particular moment. Are you that type of a person? And even if you are not, you can work towards it moment by moment by moment. I'll give you a small example. You may not remember yourself as a small child, newborn child, as you grew up. But look at a newborn child who is born. So helpless, has to depend on everybody for everything. And interestingly, that newborn child is so aware about what may be happening around them or is happening around them. Look at the way they move. Look at the continuous struggle and they have to want to get up and turn around until they manage to turn around. Look at that first crawl of theirs. They are focusing, they're watching, they're seeing what is happening, and they're adapting part by part by part. Are we like that? Can we be like that? Aware. At the same time, also having a sort of non-judgmental to what is happening at this moment. Think of a moment in your life where you listen to somebody without judging the person. You listen to the full thing that the person said, the full statement that they made. You understood it, you digested it, and then went back after understanding that person and responded. Today it has become fashionable to just, if you speak fast and if you give a quick answer, you are thought of being a smart person. But are you actually smart? Or did you give the answer that was supposed to be given? Our role as parents, teachers, human beings is to be able to be mindful and aware to what is happening in every moment. To understand what is going on. Remember, we cannot read minds, okay? Even I cannot read minds. Maybe we read minds by looking at a person's face, looking at the expression, what is happening, and then we go and ask the person, are you feeling okay? Or is something wrong? To be mindful is to understand that other person and then approach that person with a clear mind. Have a conversation, have a talk, sit without prejudice. And it's so important to not have prejudices about things. Because when you have a prejudice, you come with a set mind about understanding from your perspective only and not from everybody else's perspective. In mindfulness, it is said, there is not just my truth. There is your truth, maybe his truth, her truth, and their truth. You have to understand everybody before you take a particular pattern to talk about it or decision on things in life. Many times we don't do that. We look at things from one angle. A simple example that I, as a student, have experienced, which I'd like to share with you. Many a times, teachers only observe very selectively, and the blame that is put is on a particular person, even though that person may not do the thing the way they have been understood to have done it. There is a need to understand everybody before you take a decision. Even when you are disciplining children. So, how do you become mindful? Very interesting. And as I'm explaining this, I want you to do one very simple thing. I want you to just sit wherever you are. Close your eye. If you want, you can keep your palms on your lap or on the side of your chair, whichever is very comfortable. Okay? And as you're doing that, before you close your eyes again, open them. Start looking around you what you see. Just look. Do not think. Just look. What do you see? Just observe without thought. It is not easy. I'm not saying it is easy. It is tough, but just look. Look at maybe the wall front of you, if you have a wall. Side of you, if you have a wall. Look at the wall. Look at the color of the wall. Does it have a particular color? Does the light give it a particular shade? Just observe wherever you are. Look at the light maybe coming from a window that is close by, if you're sitting near a window. How does the light come in? Does it throw a particular type of shadow? Become aware of that. Now close your eyes and just notice the chair, the cushion, or whatever it is that you're sitting on. Just become aware of that. Feel the texture of it without touching your palm to it. Just feel that texture, how it feels. What do you notice? What do you observe? Maybe you're wearing a particular outfit, a shirt, a top, a kurta, a pajama, a sari, a dress. Notice this material against your body. What does it feel like? What does it sense like? Is there a particular sense to it? Is it soft? Is it silky? Is it rough? Is it comfortable? Or is it discomforting? If you are wearing glasses, notice the glasses on the bridge of your nose. Just observe it. How does that feel? What is the sensation like? How comfortable are you with it? How uncomfortable are you with it? Whatever you notice and feel, just become aware. You do not have to like or dislike the experience. You just have to be aware of it right now. Notice how you have placed your palms. Notice whether they're warm, they feel cold, they feel soft. If your feet are touching the floor or they are in a pair of shoes or whatever, become aware of that. Just notice and observe that. And whatever you are able to become aware of this particular moment, Just become aware of it. Just come to your breath for a moment. Notice how the air goes into your nostril and fills your lungs. And if you can, does the air feel cool when it is going inside or warm? And don't think about what you have learned in school about it. Just observe it. Observe how it is. And as you exhale, notice again how does the air feel. Does it feel any different? Or is it the same as it went in? Was it cooler when it came out? Was it warmer? Was it neutral? And whatever it was, become aware of that. And the more you become aware of that, the more you become aware of this moment, about what is happening to you right now. Try to sense your hand without touching it. The whole hand, starting maybe from the shoulder, going to the upper arm, coming to your elbow, going to your forearm, coming to your palm, and try to sense each of your fingers and thumbs. What is it that you are sensing at this moment of time? And whatever it is you're sensing, it is okay. You do not have to feel anything special about it. And this sensing can help you a lot in every area of your life. And open your eyes slowly. Just open them slowly. And notice again as you open your eyes. What is it that you are feeling in this moment right now? At this moment, as you open your eyes and you began to look again, what was the feeling that you had? Remember, feelings and thoughts are two different things. What was the first thought that came to your mind when you also opened your eyes? Very important to understand that. To understand mindfulness better is to get into our body, to know what is happening to us at this moment. It is when you know what is happening to yourself, you will understand the next person. And when you know what is happening here and you are understanding the next person, you know that something is happening there also. So you stop assuming about what way that particular person is behaving, or why do you speculate that that person is behaving. And when you do that, you will understand. There will be more clarity in your life. There will be more understanding to what is happening in this moment. And let me tell you, mindfulness is not just dispassionate observation. Mindfulness is connectivity to this particular moment. You are very intimately connected to yourself. And so you are in yourself. If you are disconnected with yourself, you will not be able to connect with another person. I like to use this statement a lot. I sense, so I know I exist. I sense, so I know I exist. If I couldn't sense, I wouldn't know whether I exist. So to understand that you are in this body and it is a part of you, is to understand that this is what is there right now and this is what is happening to you. And to be so intimately linked with your body is very important. So understand yourself will lead you to understanding what other people are having in their body. And you will be able to connect at that level to the person. And you will be able to understand in that way what is happening to the next person. You will have an open and understanding mind at that moment. You will learn to be more compassionate towards the next being because you are compassionate to yourself as you understand yourself. So to be mindful is to be intimately connected you to yourself, not just the experience, but understand the experience. And take that understanding to the reality of your life. And if you understand that, life will become more and more clearer to you in that moment. And that is what you want life to be, more clear. And the more clear life is, the more clear you are to it. And it can only happen through conscious observation and connecting with it. If you have enjoyed the simple exercise that we did, you can share your experience in the chat box by telling me whether you liked it, you didn't like it, what did you like, what you didn't like. Maybe you can put some comments there to understand, so I can understand how did you experience this today. And of course, yes, 45 minutes is too short a time to understand mindful. What I can give you is just the outer shell and covering of it. There is much, much, much inside. This is like a drop of in the ocean. But yet, that drop, if you can even connect with that to start with, you can start adding to those drops of your life. You can become a more aware, focused person. You can connect much better with people. You will be able to understand from a non-judgmental perspective of what is happening to them. You will be able to listen to them and then be able to understand what they say and respond to them. You will be able to have much whole relationships with them instead of just the hello, hi, and judging them. One of the things that I think of a lot is how does a person make or understand people by first impression? We look at somebody, for that matter, and we make an impression about that person. So the next time you're doing that, become mindful. How can you make an impression about somebody in that moment when there is a lot more about that person you don't know? Be mindful about it. Be understanding about it. And as I come to the end of the session where I take questions, I think because I have just exactly 45 minutes and looking at the time that I've taken, it's almost becoming 40 minutes or so. I want you to take one simple thing, not hundreds, but one simple thing. Are you awake or are you sleepwalking through life? Maybe you can try this after the webinar when you get offline and just go. The very first action that you take, what is it? Become aware of it and do it. Just one action. And do that action every day until you become totally aware of it, of what you're doing. Maybe it could be the brushing of your teeth early in the morning. Maybe it could be the footwear that you wear first thing. Maybe the way you dress up. Maybe the way you paint your nails. I know people are very aware when they paint their nails. Okay. So whatever it is, just become aware of it, what you're doing and what is going on in that mind of yours.
Now we have come to the end of the session. The participants can raise their queries through the chat box. Lavina, moderator, will now facilitate interaction with the speaker.
Thank you, Sister Lumet. Now I request the participants to type your texts on the chat box. So the first question is, could you tell a little bit about Vipassana?
Okay, fine. I did Vipassana years back, and I do not practice Vipassana as a Vipassana practice, but I do mindfulness, which is exactly also taken from Vipassana. What I can tell you is learn to start with focusing on your breath. Okay. Vipassana is about learning to focus on your breath and understand yourself through that. To the moment about how your breath comes in and out. It involves a lot of other practices which I can't talk in such moments. But if you'd like to connect with me on this and getting in-depth understanding of it, then you can either send me your email or connect with me on my Facebook, and I can share with you more details. Because it's a vague subject. Vipassana itself is a very big subject.
The next question is, does meditation help in practicing mindfulness?
Yes, it does help in practicing mindfulness. To understand mindfulness and meditation, mindfulness is a way of life. Meditation is a practice that you do to learn to be mindful. There are many other ways besides meditation also that you can learn to be mindful. Meditation is the core practice to develop mindfulness. Does that answer your question?
The next question, is the mindfulness meditation also of Buddhist meditation or Shavasana of yoga?
Okay. The teachings of mindfulness comes from the teaching of the historical Buddha. And I'm not talking about Buddhism as a religion here. I'm talking about the Buddha as a human being who taught mindfulness to all beings. He never taught any religious concept. He taught simple life living concepts. So mindfulness is the same practice as that. And there are no religious connotations to it. The idea of mindfulness is to help you become a better human being, become a better Christian, become a better Hindu, become a better Muslim, become a better human being. How do we bring about mindfulness in school going kids? Yes, Celia. One of the things is start the day in a school with at least 5 minutes of focused attention every morning. Asking the children to focus on their breath and learning to practice that. That is the first thing you can do every morning in school, and it can be one of the most beautiful things. Why? Because if the mind is quiet, if the mind is focused, if the mind is paying attention, the child will be able to pay attention in class. Secondly is after every break, before you start the class again have at least 5 minutes of focus. The reason being is when you go from one situation to the next situation to the next situation, you need to bring your mind back to what you are going to do. And if you are not able to bring your mind, say you're playing during the recess and having fun and enjoying as a child, and that is fantastic, that is good, that is beautiful. But when you come back to the class, you're now refreshed and ready to focus again. And when you bring that mind again, you will be able to focus better. And the teacher will be able to teach better also at the same time. I do have certain programs that are especially for children in mindfulness that I conduct. Some are like, which can be done in a day or 2 days or over a weekend. There is also an 8-week program that I conduct for children for mindfulness, which is over every week for 1.5 hours during the week. I do have a program that I have specially for teachers, which they can learn, develop their mindfulness, and then start teaching it in school, in class, that can help them develop their skill, their student skill, and also the family can be benefited by it. Thank you, Celia. Does that answer your question?
Next question. How can we convey this concept in a simple way to our students?
Okay. 3 things you can say. Mindfulness involves 3 things. First is attention. So explain to your children what is the meaning of attention. I'll give a simple example. From day one, when children are born, they always think, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. But what is pay attention? Have you been ever explained this concept in your life about paying attention? So tell the child what is paying attention. Second, awareness. Make the child aware of how we can be aware of what is going on in our body. And what is the meaning of awareness? You can have attention, but you may not be aware. So talk about paying attention and awareness. And then talk about the third part of mindfulness. Remembering to do this again and again. I still remember in my school when I was young, we had a subject for students who were not Catholic. Like the Catholic class would have, the students would have what is called religion class, while the non-Catholics would have moral science. And bring the concept of non-judgmental, maybe through moral science class to the students. It could be students, all students. Explaining to them about not judging somebody, how judging somebody can be problems. So give examples in different ways, and that will be very helpful. And don't start everything in one go. Take part by part by part. I'm sure we do not eat for all the years of our life in one go, right? So take small parts, small, and teach them. And if you do want any help, you can please connect with me. I will put my email address in the YouTube after this session is over, and you can connect with me on that. I'll put my email address, my Facebook link, my LinkedIn link, so that you can connect with that. Okay, Somnath here asks, how do you develop the habit of doing mindfulness every day? Somnath, find a particular time in the day and stick to the time. It can be morning, it can be evening, it can be afternoon, whenever you have. But remember, avoid doing this immediately after your meal. Find a particular time where nobody can disturb you. Or tell your family member that you want a few minutes for yourself. It could be 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And do it at that same time every day. And the more you do it at that same time every day, the more you develop yourself. And more your practice goes stronger. Somnath, does that answer your question?
Next question. How can we make meditation and mindfulness more enjoyable?
Kimberly, the enjoyable question that is there. You need to make life enjoyable. Of course, there are many ways to make mindfulness enjoyable. Meditation can also be made enjoyable by playing some music while you're meditating. But remember, when you're meditating and you're playing music, do not focus on the music, but focus on what you are supposed to. Okay, that is one way you can do it. What is the second one? How can you make mindfulness enjoyable? There are many ways to be mindful. When you eat your food, I'm sure you just eat it fast during the day and it's finished. Try eating your food, enjoying every morsel of it. The taste, the texture, the aroma, smell the spice, feel the texture of what you're eating, feel it on your palate. Even when you swallow it, enjoy it. You can be mindful when you go for a walk in the morning. One of the ways of being mindful when you go for a walk is avoid taking your cell phone. Just walk. Avoid talking to your neighbor who's there with you. I see a lot of people going for morning walks, gossiping about everybody in the morning. So just walk. Feel the feet on the ground. If you're walking bare feet, enjoy the coolness, enjoy the warmness. If you're walking on grass, enjoy the wetness. You need to enjoy it. Nobody can make you enjoy it. You have to enjoy it. Maybe if I am conducting a session, I would ask people to experience that moment at that point of time. So connect to that point of time to enjoy it. And if you can connect to that point of time to enjoy it, you would enjoy it. One of the ways to enjoy sitting in meditation is to enjoy every breath that comes in and out that tells you you are alive. I'm sure everybody is happy when they feel alive. And with every breath that goes in, you're alive. Think of it. Next one.
As a teacher, how to help students to be mindful?
I think I've already answered this question before. I hope if you're paying attention, that is making students take mindful practice before, during the day, and at the end of the day of the school. One thing you can do is even at the end of the class, at the end of the day when children are going home, 5 minutes to focus on breath. It's a transition from being focused in class to a transition to going home where they're going to meet their parents or whoever is at home. So use it even at the end of the day and see what difference it makes. One thing for teachers that you could do here is at the start of your class and before, say you're in the staff room and you're going for your next class, just become 2 minutes mindful about what you're feeling, what you're sensing, and see what is happening. You can do that. Try that out. And if you find any difference, please do write it on my Facebook page and tell me that what is your experience. I would definitely like to know. Okay.
Next question. How long will it take for me to become mindful?
Joel, I can't tell you how long it will take for you to become mindful. That is a question nobody can answer to you. It all depends on you. The very start that you have realized that you want to be mindful is you have started your journey. When your journey will end, I can only tell you that it could be the last breath in our life that our journey will end. But let every breath be a mindful breath. So you're already mindful right now with the fact that you want to be mindful.
Next question. What is the difference between Upasana and Aradhana?
I wouldn't want to go into that right now, Jagannath, because that is a topic that requires a lot of discussion. Maybe you and I can connect on it. And I'll tell you why, because it has more to do with a lot of philosophy that people talk about than the actual practice of it. But if you'd like to have a chat on it, maybe when we meet online or through my Facebook page, I would discuss it with you. I hope that answers your question, Jagannath.
Next question. It's highly challenging to develop awareness in my school children. What can I do?
Like I said, start with one moment at a time. Maybe start at the start of the day. Don't bring all the practices in one day. Start with one practice that goes on for a week, maybe even for a month. You have 12 years in a month, and I'm sure out of those 12 months, the children are in school for 9 months. And you can start one practice a month every day, building that skill. Start with the first period of the class during the assembly, making them aware to learn to focus, and then take it forward. And let me tell you, the very fact that you realize it is challenging, you are mindful about it. Maybe tell them stories that connect them to what mindfulness is about. That could be another thing that you do. I hope that answers your question.
Next question. What are the essential aspects that can control our mind from disturbances in order to be aware of the presence of mind?
That is a very long thing to answer, but I hope this will. You can never stop what is going on in your mind. But what you can do is focus on what you want. I'm going to repeat that again. You can never stop what is going on in your mind. Mindfulness is not about stopping anything that's going on in the head. It's about learning to focus. And the more you learn to do something and continue it on and on and on, the more better you get at it. So Arul, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. We will be ending the discussion session now. Thank you, Mr. Roland, for sharing your views and answering the queries of the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Lavina, and thank you, sir. I request Shweta to propose the vote of thanks.
The best and beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt by heart. Thank you is one such an attitude. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose this vote of thanks. My sincere thanks to Mr. Roland Rapose, the resource person, for accepting our invitation with a ready yes. Sir, your session was inspiring and very useful. It was also a wonderful opportunity for us to learn. On behalf of the management, staff, and students of St. Aloysius Institute of Education, I thank you. I thank all the participants for being with us today and making this webinar a success. I convey my heartfelt thanks to Reverend Father Praveen Martis SJ, Director of our institute, for his encouragement for all our endeavors. Thank you, Father. I thank our beloved principal, Dr. Mrs. Parita Vegas, for the planning, guidance, and for giving us the opportunity to upskill ourselves in these times. Thank you, ma'am. I also thank our Vice Principal, Mrs. Jelna Lopez, for her support. My sincere thanks to all my teachers and the support staff of the college for being there for us all time. I thank all my dear fellow mates for your cooperation in making this occasion a resounding success. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, one and all, for your patient listening and for gracing this commemoration with your presence. Jai Hind.